hii kitabu iko na anything to do with the divorce?
Yeah, of course it's what happened when I went through the separation. For me, ilifanya I needed to think about my choices better. Yeah. Actually ask myself, I think, questions we don't ask ourselves enough, like what do I want, who am I, where am I going.
This is Therapy Radio. Swambi on your headphones. Welcome to Therapy Radio. My name is Wambi. I'm a therapeutic storyteller and I love exploring the fringes of culture as a juggler of ideas. Remember, Therapy Radio does not exist to disparage or defame, but to stoke the insight needed for the mastery of life. We analyze pop culture predominantly through the lens of Christianity. And today, tunaanza na video ya Nini podcast by Mwafrika and Ian the Legend wakibanja na Vivian Kenya, one of the foremost Kenyan artists, aki-highlight divorce yake na the role therapy played arudi form. Therapy Radio. Let's go.
Sasa ni Vivian.
Yeah.
So naweza taka kujua hii kitabu iko na anything to do with the divorce?
Yeah, of course it's what happened when I went through the separation. For me, ilifanya I needed to think about my choices better. Yeah. Actually ask myself, I think, questions we don't ask ourselves enough, like what do I want, who am I, where am I going, what is important now. Yeah, as in ku connect past yangu, present yangu na kule naenda, because the dynamics changed. So nika realize, of course, number one, even being a musician for the number of years, it's always been about trying to keep the power with me. Because everyone wants the power. In the studio, the producer wants the power. Everyone wants your power. But it's your power. So how do you connect with people, be in different spaces, but still hold on to your essence, which is now your power?
So, the elephant in the room remains. What is this thing we call therapy, and why do we need it? Why is it necessary in our lives? Ukichiki kama historia Vivian akibonga na Mwaf, anabonga about the familial divorce, the divorce that we are familiar with. Lakini ukiangalia, the first one that people are not familiar with is the divorce from the self. Tukiingia kwa Bible kiasi, unageti concept inaitwa holiness. Na ukiangalia vile church explain hii concept, there's a lot to be desired there. Basically, holiness inamaanisha the total unification of your body, your soul, and your spirit. Unapata in your mind you've got the thinking process. Alafu the thinking process informs the feeling process, and eventually the feeling process inform how you act. So it's thinking, feeling, and eventually acting. So if your thinking and feeling are not aligned, unapata actions zako zinakuwa in a state of disharmony, azileti ile kitu unataka kudu. So for instance, kama unataka tuseme get the number 4, the thing to do ni ku add 2 plus 2, una get 4. Okay, add 2 plus 3, then you get 5. Getting 5 is not the problem. The problem is that what you intended to get was the 4 initially. Na hapo ndo kuna kuwa na norma, and that is what we call disharmony. Psychology inaita cognitive dissonance, and this cognitive dissonance is what we call divorce from your true self. Therapy therefore means the medical treatment of disease, from modern Latin therapia and the Greek therapia, which means curing, healing, or service done to the sick. Psychotherapy, on the other hand, derives from the words psycho and therapy. Psycho meaning mind, mental, spirit, unconscious, the invisible animating principle or entity which occupies and directs the physical body. It also means the mind as the seat of thought and faculty of reason. Psychotherapy is also known as talk therapy and refers to techniques that help people change behavior, thoughts, and emotions that cause disharmony. Some of the main causes of disharmony are thinking patterns, fears that you may have in intimate relationships, and the tendency to avoid things that are difficult or uncomfortable. All these stem from our self-concept, which is our personal knowledge of who we are, encompassing all of our thoughts and feelings about ourselves, physically, personally, and socially. Self-concept also includes our knowledge of how we behave, our capabilities, and our individual characteristics. Our self-concept develops most rapidly during early childhood and adolescence, but self-concept continues to form and change over time as we learn more about ourselves. Carl Rogers, one of the founders of humanistic psychology, suggested that self-concept includes three components: self-image, which is the way we see ourselves. Self-image includes what we know about ourselves physically and our personality traits. Self-image does not always match reality. Some individuals hold an inflated perception of one or more of their characteristics. Number two, we've got self-esteem, which is the value we place upon ourselves. Individual levels of self-esteem are dependent on the way we evaluate ourselves. Those evaluations incorporate our personal comparisons to others, as well as how other people respond to us. When we compare ourselves to others and find that we are better at something, or that people respond favorably to what we do, our self-esteem in that area grows, and vice versa. Number three, we've got the ideal self. The ideal self is the self we would like to be. There's often a difference between one's self-image and one's ideal self. This disharmony can negatively impact one's self-esteem. Disharmony between the self-image and the ideal self means there's a discrepancy between oneself and one's experiences, leading to internal confusion or cognitive dissonance, vile tulisema mbele, that prevents harmony, which leads to self-realization, self-fulfillment, self-discovery, and self-exploration. Haya watu wangu, that's about it. This has been Therapy Radio, brought to you by the University of Wambi. The University of Wambi is a school of life and an academy of ideas. Na iko divided into 12 dimensions. Dimension ya kwanza is the physical dimension. We move on to the intellectual dimension. After, we go to the emotional dimension, and these three form your character. Then we move on to your spiritual dimension, and these 5 dimensions zina form the core of who you are as a person. Lafu tuna move on to dimension ya mabeshte, the kind of friends you have, the kind of romantic relationships you have, and the kind of relationship you have with your extended family. Tukitoka hapo tuna move kwa career yako. After dimension ya career, tuna move to the kind of money you make. Finances zina determine the quality of your vision, of your life vision, and the quality of your life vision determines the quality of life that you lead as a person. Like, share, and subscribe. Na pia kama unaweza katutupa mbele hapo kimpesa. Namba ni 0113711 539. I'll see you on the next episode.